When I gave my Picturing Functions and Functions of Pictures presentation at the Baltimore NCTM Regional recently, one of the special effects that I included was the Wavy bridge. And a number of people asked me, how did you do that in Sketchpad? It's actually surprisingly easy, so I thought I'd make this video to show how it's done. We'll begin from scratch, an empty sketch. From the Help menu, we'll choose the Picture Gallery. The Picture Gallery gives us a number of pictures that we can make use of, including this one of the Golden Gate Bridge. So I'll copy that image. We will paste it into Sketchpad. And having pasted it in, I really only want to animate this portion of it. So I will construct a polygon, which will single out that portion of the picture that I actually want to use. So I'll use the polygon to crop the picture, selecting both of those from the Edit menu. I crop the picture to the quadrilateral. Now I don't actually care about the quadrilateral, so I'm going to hide it. And I still have this part to hide as well. Okay, so there's the picture that we're going to wave. Now we have to do the mathematics to make it wave, and that's going to require a sine function. So we'll graph a new function, which is going to be sine of x, only we'll add a couple of parameters to it. In front of the sine, we'll insert a new parameter. We'll call it a for the amplitude. And we'll need a multiplication sign now. After the x, we'll subtract another parameter, which we could call h. So there's the sine curve. And I'll hide the grid so it doesn't interfere with our view of the picture. And I'll also move the vertical axis over here so it's out of the way. And we'll just keep the parameters and so forth down here where we have ready access and visibility to them. And grabbing the end of the graph, I just extended it a bit. Okay, so what do we want to do? For any point in the picture, that's for instance here, we want to translate that point of the picture upward when the value of the sine is positive, and downward if we're over here where the value of the sine is negative. So we need to know what the x value of this is in order to figure out how much we're going to translate by. Let's measure its x value. There we go. And to get the 2 points that we're going to need to create a translation vector, I'm going to take that x value and plot it on the x-axis. That gives me the point right here that moves with point A wherever I take point A. And then we'll also use the calculator to take the value of the function at this value of x, and then we can plot the value of x and the value of the function at that point as an xy pair, and we have the point on the curve. So this is the vector we want, a vector downward in this instance. So let's go ahead and translate point A downward by this much. Should have the translate dialog box here visible. It's point B to point C, it's called them now. So we go ahead and do the translation. And notice that this works properly, as when A is in a region where the sign is positive, it's going to translate upward. Where the sign is negative, it's going to translate downward. So this is the independent variable and this is the dependent variable for the function that should be applied to each pixel in this big picture. With those two selected, from the Transform menu, we'll define a custom transformation which turns this into a function. We'll call it Wave. And now we can select our original picture and apply the wave function to that picture, and there's our wave. Now it's a little confusing here looking at it. Part of that is because the original picture is still visible behind it, so I'll select that and hide it. So the original picture is now no longer visible. Part of it is because our resolution isn't as high as it might be, so we'll use the properties of the picture and the plot properties specifically to change the resolution from 50,000 pixels to 100,000 pixels. And that doubling of the resolution gives us a little bit better image. Now, this is too much waviness for me, probably for you as well, so I'll take this and change it from 1 to, let's say, 0.5, typing 0.5 on my keyboard. That's a little more like it. And all that we have to do now is animate the value of h in order to animate the phase shift and see the wave travel from one direction to the other. So selecting h, edit, action button, animation, gives us an animation button for h. And let's change, let's say, by pi units every second. I can press P on my keyboard to make it pi units per second. And we only need to go from 0 to 2 pi because we're not changing the period. The period is exactly 2 pi. So that should take care of that. We're going to make this go in an increasing direction, always going the same direction. And now we have our animation button. There's the moving bridge. We can change the amplitude. We can change the rate at which it waves. And that's all there was to it.